Good morning, everyone. I am super excited to be here today. We're going to be presenting one of the amazing projects in your summer Churn Dash box. And again, if you're new to the Elevate Club, this is a project box that comes with all kinds of goodies. This box comes with 5 different projects. Each quarter, we're highlighting one patchwork block. So this quarter, we are highlighting the Churn Dash block, and we have all kinds of fun projects in this box for summer and Churn Dash designs. So our goal is to not just inspire fun projects you can create with a Churn Dash flare, but also seasonal projects. And then our goal is to give you quilt designs that inspire you to finish the block of the quarter. So we're going to be using one of those quilt designs as well as piecing the block today using that amazing half square triangle stash buster that we put in your box. So you're going to get all kinds of awesome education. You're going to be using, I think, like 4 different items in the box today, guys. So this is a day that you're really taking advantage of your amazing boxes. I hope everybody has them out there. I did want to take a moment to do a quick shout out. Joyce Runyon, congratulations on being our Arrow Challenge winner. Absolutely love that you completed your mini block, but you expanded it. You made it a 4-patch, which was super cute, and you finished it. So stay tuned. We'll be getting your Churn Dash challenge coming soon, and we're going to give everybody a little bit of an extended time to go ahead and participate in that again. I know that there's lots going on during the summer, especially, so wanting to be able to participate and enjoy some of those different blocks is something that we want to be able to give you. So that will be coming up here shortly. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and have Melissa get started with her mini Churn Dash block, and she'll walk you through it. We'll answer questions throughout in the chat, and if there's anything that we want to address after the fact, we'll go ahead and do that as well. So I'll have Melissa take it away. Thanks, everyone.
Hi everybody, this is Melissa with Sew Steady, and I hope you're ready to dive into our mini quilt block for quarter 3. We are focusing on the Churn Dash block, which is a simple and quick block to put together. It's consisting of just a few half square triangles and then a couple rectangles. And I always enjoy learning the history of a quilt block, and I found it interesting that the Churn Dash block was named as it looks similar to a butter churn looking down from above, which I was going to look up some pictures of that, but I haven't had the chance to do it yet. But I thought that was kind of interesting. And it just represented the pioneer woman's lifestyle, which was centered around home and hearth. So I thought that was kind of a fun little background on the Churn Dash. And I guess there's other names for it as well. But here's a couple samples that I made, one with some fall colors and one with just some springy looking fabric. Again, it's very easy to put together, and then but if you do multiple blocks and lay them out, you get really unique designs. And you can also make it larger. I don't know if you can see back here, I did a much larger version of the block. So perhaps you have some fabric that you have a pretty design on that you want to see better. It's nice to do a bit bigger block. And again, it comes together really fast and really easy. So anyways, let's dig into your quarter 3 box and get some of the goodies out that we're going to need. So to get started, we have our beautiful fabric from In the Beginning. So you might have gotten one of the floral and then 2 of the pink, or you might have gotten 2 of the floral and 1 of the pink. So whichever one that you got an extra one of, we're going to set that aside because that is going to be our backing and our binding. So I got 2 of this really pretty pink. So we're going to set that one aside, and we're just going to need to, for cutting, we're going to need 1 of each of the colors that you got in the box. Isn't that pretty? I love how vibrant the colors are on these. So let's see. Next, we're going to need our little mini Churn Dash pattern with our half square triangle stash buster. So we're going to use both of those. And then, of course, when it comes to quilting, we're going to want our quilt plan, which is our block B quilt plan. And then we get to use our new, it's not really a new Spinifex, it's Spinifex number 7, but we have 2 new sizes. So we're going to use those to quilt this design on our block when we get it done. So anyways, I'm really looking forward to this class. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm going to go ahead and clean this off and let's get started at cutting our fabric. Okay, so to get started, I have 2 of my blocks. They're just on top of each other, and I went ahead and pressed them and give them a little bit of starch. And then I also went ahead and gave myself a nice straight edge on 2 sides here so I can make sure everything's lined up correctly. And what we're going to do first is we're going to cut our 4 rectangle background fabrics from both fabric A and fabric B. Now I'm going to cut them both at the same time. You don't have to, but sometimes it's easier to just layer them both since we're cutting the same sizes for both. And then I thought most of you or some of you might still have our adjustable ruler from I think quarter-1 box. So we'll use that. And then I also was going to show off just one of our other sizes, which is our 12.5 by, which one is this? Our 12.5 inch size one. This one I use a lot as well too. It's a nice size. It's not too big. It's really handy, especially for like 10-inch, 12-inch blocks. And then of course we have our little mini one. I just had to show that off because it was so cute. Look at how cute that is. Okay. So I'm going to use this. I have this one adjusted to 1.5. You can also use, again, the one that came in your quarter-1 box if you got that one, or just any ruler, but we're going to be cutting 1.5 inch by 2.5 inch strips. So what I'm going to do is I have this set at my 1.5 inch mark. So let me kind of scooch that back over here. And I'm going to just line it up because we have that nice black guide. And I'm just going to cut a couple strips here because I need 4 of each. So I think I can get a few off of here. So let's see. So I'm going to do 2. Do those ones. Oh, might need to change my blade out on my rotary cutter. Okay, so let's see how many we'll get out of 2 strips. And then I pulled my other 2 apart, but what you can do then is I'm just going to lay these, cut them any way you want actually, because there's a lot of ways you can cut your fabrics though. My other one I had set at 2.5 inches. So then that way I can just come and line it up and we're going to cut. So I need 4. So 1, let's see. And sometimes cutting them together is nice because you're piecing them together. So then sometimes the piecing is just, everything's cut nice and straight and lines up really well. So I'm going to go ahead and get, let's see, I get 3. Yeah, I think I'm going to be just shy of being able to get a 4th one. So that'll be extra. And then we're going to go ahead and cut. Now, if you were doing multiple blocks of churn dashes at one time, what I would suggest is you could even, because basically we're going to be piecing those 2 together, you could go ahead and piece your strips together and then cut the sizes that you need, and that would save a little bit of time. But for now, we are just going to do it and get these 2 pieces lined back up and cut my last little, my last one. Okay. So I think there may be enough fabric to actually do, I need to change my blade. 2 blocks maybe. So we have 4 of each, which is what we needed. These are all going to be pieced together. So I'm going to set those aside. And then next we're going to use our half square triangle stash buster. And we're going to cut out our half square triangles. Now there's a couple ways you can do this too. These are designed to work with our adjustable guides. So what you would do, since we're cutting 2.5 inch half square triangles, this is already adjusted to 2.5 inches because that's what I just cut those with. So you want to butt up your black guide. If this wasn't adjusted to 2.5 inches, how you would do it is these are designed to work together. So you'd butt that up until the tip of that hit your 2.5 inch mark right there. And then you'd cut those strips out. So then that way you're not wasting any fabric, and what we're cutting out is exactly the size of the strip of fabric that we cut. So we need 4 each of those. So that's what I'm going to do. I already have this adjusted at 2.5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and again, keep your blade down, slide and cut. And then you turn these around. And this is already at the exact size that I need. So I'm going to just cut those out, and I'm not wasting, again, I'm not wasting any fabric. Let's do it this way. So if I line that right up there, again, we have the black guide down there, which is really nice. And, oh, you know what I should get is my rotating mat, because this is perfect for that. There's one set right there. And then if I had my rotating mat out, then I would just rotate it around and line this up. And then again, it's really nice because you're not wasting a lot of fabric. I would line this up and I would just cut, cut, and cut. So maybe I'll get my rotating mat so I'm not doing these weird angles on camera. Hang on just a sec. Okay. So then we're just gonna nip off that little end right there, cut that. And we have our next one, and we just need 4. So I can turn this around, scooch those out of the way. I really like how this is designed to, again, not waste a lot of fabric. If you're ever done a lot of piecing, I know sometimes the way you cut, you can waste a lot of fabric. So I really like this Stash Busters, keep it really easy. And there's a lot of ways to do half square triangles. You know, you can do multiple ones at a time. I do find that the more that I do at one time, the less accurate they are. And I don't know if that's just me. So if you're really working on something that you want to make sure, you know, comes out really well, the Stash Buster is really great because you are getting rid of those ends there. So things will line up really nicely. And then again, you're just cutting each side, one side at a time, not trying to do 2 at a time, 4 at a time, or 8 at a time. Half square triangles. So anyways, those are the 4 we need. So we just need 4 of those, and then we've got this extra fabric. So you could probably do a couple blocks, I think, if you wanted to. And let's see. So those are cut out. Let's piece it together. So we're going to piece the rectangles all first and get those pressed, and then we'll piece the half square triangles. So let's start with the rectangles. I almost forgot my center one, C. So we do need to cut one 2.5 inch by 2.5 inch center block. So I can't believe I almost forgot that. And I'm going to be doing mine out of the floral because I'm going to use the pink is going to be the actual, like I would call the frame, and then I'll use the floral on the outside. And then that way my backing and binding, the pink binding will kind of come up over, and I think that'll all look good together. So I am going to cut my 2.5 inch by 2.5 inch, which is nice because I already had the ruler set up. I just need to cut out my block. I got over there and I was like, I think I'm missing something. And that would be this, my centerpiece, most important piece. Okay. There we go. So now we have all our pieces. We'll head over to the machine and get started on piecing. Alrighty, so I have my block pieces over here by my machine, and I like to lay them out while I'm piecing just so I don't get confused. So I like to keep it all laid out, and what we're going to do is we're just going to piece these ones together first. So we're going to start on our rectangles, get those pieced together, then we'll get them pressed and let them sit on the clapper while we do our half square triangles. So let's get started. Okay, so I have got my Sew Straight guide on, which is a really helpful tool that came in your Q3 box as well. It's cute, has a little butterfly engraved on it. Anyways, and I've got my scant 1/4 inch, my needle set at the right setting. You can use your new Wesley Design spacing gauge, which also has the scant 1/4 inch on here to set it on your machine. So you make sure your needle's in the right spots. And we're just gonna chain piece these 4 pieces together. So let's see, my machine froze for a second. There it goes. So this is a really nice tool to help you keep everything nice and straight, and you don't get that kind of a wonky end, you know, when you get to the end of your your piece, sometimes you can tend to like get your fingers out of the way and kind of moves it, and sometimes that can mess up your seams. So this kind of helps with that, as well as your stiletto. I should grab my stiletto. That's a good one to have too. So I'm just gonna put these all 4 together, and then we're gonna go press them. Readjust this one. It looks like it was kind of, I cut it a little crooked, but I think it'll be okay. And our last one. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull these out. I'm gonna go press them, and then we'll be back and do our half square triangles. All right, so I am moving on to the half square triangles. I went and pressed the rectangles, so they're sitting up there all pressed and ready to go. And I am just doing all 4 of the half square triangles. Oops. And just kind of making sure they're nice and lined up. Any little adjustments as you need. And one more. So yeah, this block comes together really, really quick. So we're gonna have our main pieces all done, and then we'll start putting together our rows after this. So get this last one done. And I'm gonna go press these, and then I'll bring everything back and we'll start putting together our rows. Okay, so I'm gonna start by putting together the middle row first, which should look like this if you're using the same color layout as I am. So I'm just going to put this one on top of this one, line it up, and we're gonna go ahead and stitch this down. And then I'm just gonna kind of finger press this for right now, and I'll go press it later, but I'm just gonna finger press it for the moment. And we're gonna get this one done next, and then we'll go press this whole row. Okay, so middle row is done. We're gonna go press that, let that sit for a second, and we'll do the other 2 rows. Here's our top row that we're gonna do next. So that's what that should look like. And there really wasn't much trimming or squaring up to do on the half square triangles. The seam allowance was kind of worked in, so it actually, yeah, there was just a little bit of a little nub in there I cut off and over here, but other than that, there wasn't really much squaring up to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip this over and line it up and get my top row done. And I'm going to go ahead and flip this one on here. And then same thing as we did with the middle, we're gonna go press this one and let it sit while we do our last row. So I'm gonna go press this one and then we're gonna do our last row. And here's our bottom row. So we're gonna do it the same way. And just gonna get this one done. Fold it over. Our right sides together. Make sure that's kind of tucked back over there. This is a new machine, so I'm getting used to the foot pedal. It's a little bit different than my last machine. So the first time I put my foot on it, it went crazy fast. So I was trying to find that nice spot where I get the speed just right. Okay, so let's adjust this one. And I'm gonna go ahead and do this one as well. Then we'll have all 3 rows done and we're gonna piece together all 3 rows. Hopefully all of our little points match up, our intersections, we will see. We're gonna piece this and then we'll put the rows together. All right, here it is. It really is a darling little block. And you know, I personally am not a big pink person, but I love this fabric because it's got the different tonal colors in it, and then you put it with the floral. It's really pretty. It's really cute. I could see doing multiple of these blocks with this fabric. I really like it. And I believe actually Mindy's going to be doing that on one of her projects that she's doing. Anyway, so we're going to put these rows together. So I don't know that it matters if I start at the top or the bottom. So I'm just going to pick one and line up my seams. I'm just going to nest them in there as good as I can. There's nothing more disappointing than going through all this work and you felt like you lined it up just right and then your seam points are just a little off your intersections. But it happens, so we just don't focus on that. So, but I gotta spend a little time just making sure they're as good as I can get them. And you could pin it. I'm just gonna hold it because it's such a small little block. And then make sure this one lines up. Sometimes you have to adjust a little bit here and there. We'll see. My bottom fabric was kind of, well, hopefully these lined up pretty good. I guess we won't know until we pull it out and take a look at it. Let's see. Well, not too bad. This one lined up really good. This one was a little off, but not bad. So let's go ahead and get our top piece on. Get that lined up. Back there. Okay. Hold that seam while I adjust this last one. Okay. All right, there we go. I'm gonna go press this, and then our next step is we're gonna start quilting on this. So I'm not gonna square it up yet. We're gonna go get the batting and the backing on. Well, I'll square it up a little bit, and then we'll start our quilting on it. So I'm gonna go press it first, and I'll be back. Okay, so we are on to quilting. So there is the finished block, And I went ahead and put my crosshair square on it and marked out 16 lines because we're going to do 16 rotations. So we're going to be using the instructions in our Churn Dash Block B instruction booklet that you should have gotten. And on the second page will be our ruler work instructions and step 1. So we're just going to follow along with this and start doing the design. I'm going to I was trying to decide if I wanted to do the white. I think I will stick to just the white thread. Hopefully it'll show up pretty good. And then we have, oh, I need to get my ruler foot and stuff on, so I'm going to do that. And then we're going to be using the Spinifex number 7 templates. So you want to get that out to get your machine set up for ruler work. Get your ruler work foot on and get your crosshair square out if you have it and mark your 16 rotations. And then we will get started. Okay, so I'm ready to go. I have done all the things that we normally do. I've pulled up my tails here, my bobbin thread. I've got my needle and I made sure it was centered at my foot. And I've got my lines on here that we talked about and my template set up. So I've got this little line down here on our template that is going to match my first rotation that I'm going to do right here. So that's a good place to make sure things are lined up. And then we're just going to follow this around, come back to here, and then we're going to turn it and we're going to do this side next. So we're just going to get started. The Spinifex templates are really fun if you haven't used them before. Hopefully you have. We have quite a line of templates and they are all make such unique designs. They're pretty cool. So I'm going to figure out my speed here that I'm feeling the best with, and I chose kind of a lime green thread, so I'd hope it would stand out and kind of complement with the pink and the floral, and then I just have white in my bobbin. So we're going to do our first rotation here, and we're going to stop with our needle down, and then we're going to go ahead and flip this around, and we're going to flip the template around. Get those little tails out of the way. And we're going to do directly across from the last one that we just did. So again, I'm going to line up this line right here with my reference line that I drew. And we're going to go ahead and do our next rotation. This is a really easy design to follow along. Sometimes with the shapes, I know sometimes they can be a little challenging. This one I think is pretty easy to do. All right, so let's see. So we're going to do those two. And then now I think we're just going to kind of work our way around. We could just do, you know, the 4 here first, which maybe we'll do those, and then we'll fill in. So I'm going to go ahead again, make sure that's lined up, do my rotation. And of course I already had my staple tape on the back, so that definitely helps. Especially when you have a big template and you're using a small block. Kind of helps keep everything together on there. Around, and we're going to do this other one. Now you don't have to flip it around if you don't want to, if you don't mind sewing away from you. I like to have it closer to me, so I don't mind shifting my block around, and it's such a small block, it's easy to do. If I had a bigger project, maybe it wouldn't be so much. So again, I'm just lining up right here, again, these 2 lines, and I'm just going to do our next rotation. Go. Now I'm just going to go ahead and start filling in the ones that I've missed. So my next one is going to be right here. So I'm going to make sure that line and that line line up. Go. And I think I'm over to here. And take time to make sure things line up. That way everything comes out correctly. I really like this green thread on that pink. It looks really nice. Working our way around here. Oops, a little hiccup with my bobbin thread or something. Got caught. Okay, so we're going to do the next one, which is about right here. I'll slow down just a little bit. I did put a new needle in, so hopefully that's not it. That was better. Sometimes you just get little hiccups. I don't know what they are. So let's put this one in here. And of course, we're coming back to that center a lot. So that center is going to get a nice big pile of thread there in the middle. So sometimes it is better if you slow down when you get to that section so your needle doesn't get caught or hung up. Almost done. Just last couple rotations over here. I think we got them all. Last one. or one more. Actually, I think we have one more. Anyways, I have this last rotation I'm gonna do. That's the nice thing about the Spinifex too. If something does happen or go wrong, you have all of your reference lines to line up. You have your center middle, so if you do have to take everything off and you do have to like fix your bobbin or do something, it's easy to line yourself back up and just keep right on going without kind of messing up the design. So I'm gonna pull this up. Go ahead and pull this out and cut that. There's so much thread there. I don't think that's gonna be going anywhere. And we'll cut that underneath. Okay, let's see how that looks. There we go. Let's see, can you see that? Let's see. Which way? There we go. I think you can see that. Yeah, so there's a little bit of thread there with 16 rotations, but still not bad. We have this cute little button, so when we're all done, we can put a little cute button right there. But that is the first part of the design. So again, that is with the 5" on the Spinifex template that you got. And then the next, we're gonna be using the 3", I believe the instructions say. So let's take a look. So let's see what we got here. Pull this back a little bit so I can kind of see. So step 2, we're going to use the 3" Spinifex, and we're going to repeat step 1 to create another 16 rotations. So we are going to, if you look at this little design right here, we're going to be, it's going to look like that when it's done. So we're going to use the 3" to create 16 of the smaller ones there. So I already have my rotation lines on there. And again, that's gonna be a really thick center with all that thread. So we're just gonna go really slow when we get back to the center so that my needle doesn't stick and kind of jam my thread or kind of make it all, I don't know, messy. So we'll just kind of go a little slower when we get to that part right there. So we are gonna go ahead and get the 3" set up, and then I will be right back. Okay, so I have my 3" on here now, lined up again the same way that we did the 5", and we're gonna do 16 rotations around the same way that we did the last one. And again, I'm gonna start a little slower coming out of that center because there is a lot of thread in there and we're just gonna be adding to it. So as I come back to it, I'm just gonna get a little slower and I'll stop. We're gonna go ahead and rotate to our next one. Now we could have done it the way that we did the other one too, where we did opposites of each other. But on this one, I'm just gonna work my way around. Sure you stop with your needle down and rotate, and then we're gonna keep going around. Got caught in that needle channel there for a little bit. Okay, next one. All right, so there is the 5" and the 3.5" done. So it did kind of gum up on me a little bit there, but that is a lot of thread there in that center. But it is a really cool design. I really like the design. Especially I think like doing this even on a bigger block would be really pretty. But it fills out this block pretty nicely. I'll show you the back. It's not too bad. A little bit of mess up there, but that is a lot of thread there. I think it'll be perfect for a button. But isn't that pretty? I love the design that it makes when you add the different rotations and the different sizes. So we're going to go ahead on to the final step of quilting. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the 5" one, and we're going to do these 4 corners. So we're going to just do a little bit of echoing in these 4 corners to make these stand out a little bit. And I'll show you back in, let's see here, let's see over here. So right here, see how we're gonna make those 2 echo designs out here in these 4 corners and just give it kind of a little bit more of a floral look. So that's kind of pretty. So that'll be fun to learn how to do that. So what we're gonna do is you'll see on the template, where is my stiletto? You'll see on the template here, there is these little vertical and horizontal lines here. So we're gonna use these vertical or horizontal lines, excuse me, when we're lining up to do the echo. So what we're gonna do is we're going to find one of our corners, and then of course we have this line up here still to line up with our marking on our fabric. And then down here, we're gonna do the very first horizontal line. We're gonna make sure it lines up right on that center. So we're gonna take the vertical, the first horizontal, and we're gonna line it up on that center. And then make sure we're lined up right here. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna start right, put our needle down right there, and we're gonna come down to right here. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna move this up to that second one, and that's gonna give us the second echo because it just moved us up a little bit more. So that is what we're gonna do. So we're gonna go ahead and get ourselves lined up, and let me get this kind of repositioned back down here so you can see. I can see that pretty good. Try to keep my hands out of the way. Let's see, how's that? So let me just turn this around so I can do it. Well, no, I think you can see the lines better this way. So I have this line up here. Get my foot out of the way. Lined up right there. Again, I have that very first cross, so basically the very top or bottom, I guess, depending on how you look at it, but this very first horizontal line with my vertical line is going to go right where my needle was in the center there. And then we're going to go ahead and put our needle down right on our stitched line there. And I'm going to go ahead and go just doing an echo. So I'm going to go up and then just back down. And we're going to stop right on that line. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move the template to the next one up. And we're going to put that right where our needle was at. Make sure we're lined up at the top. And if you want, you can travel. You can see there's a little bit of gap here, so we can travel just enough to where the foot then hits the template. Let's see if I can switch this around this way. So we don't have to travel far. It's not a huge echo. See, am I doing this right? Actually, I think we want to break thread there. I think. Then we're moving that one up to that one. And let's see how much room that gives us. Yeah, I think that's about right. It's not much of an echo, just a little bit. I think it kind of starts out pretty close when you first start out. So I'm not gonna worry about pulling up my threads right now. We're just gonna practice this and make sure it looks like it's supposed to look. I think so. I think that looks like the photo. Okay. That's right. Here we go. So we'll pull up our thread next time so we don't leave all that goofy stuff on the back, but let me just clip this right here. So that's just what the little echo is going to look like. So not very big, just a little bit of one to give it a little bit more interest there in the corners. So we're going to go ahead and do the next corner the same way. So again, we're going to line up these little lines right here. Put that first crosshair right on your needle point in the center, and you should have a pretty clear needle area because of all that thread in there. And then I'm going to line up at the top, and we're going to do our first one again. I'm going to stop right on that next one. We're going to move this up. Make sure we're lined up at the top again. I'm just going to travel over. Oh, I got off my center there a little bit. That way you don't have to, oh, well, don't mind that. I started gawking. I don't know what I was gawking at. And we're gonna stop right there. Definitely don't do that. We'll not look at that one. It got all messy. I had it all right, and then I looked up to do something, and yeah, that's what happens when you look away while you're trying to do your ruler work. Okay. Let's do this again. I'm gonna put this down right here. So this is my first time doing this particular design. I have used the Spinifex 7 before, but I haven't done this echoing, so thank you for bearing with me. The instructions are pretty easy to follow though, so that's kind of nice. And we're just gonna not look away when I do it this time. Travel over a little bit. It's kind of a nice echo design. And let's do our last one. So we're gonna get ourselves lined down here first, line up at the top, and then we'll get ourselves lined up over here on this, right on that stitch line. And we'll go to the next one over here. Stop right on that stitch line again, and then we're going to move this up to the second one. Make sure our top's lined up again. I'm going to just do a little travel till my foot hits the template, and then do the second echo. All right. And there we go. I think I need to practice those a little bit more, but they're nice looking. I like how they look, I like how they add interest to the end of the block there. So let's get this cleaned up, and then we're going to add some binding to it. Anyways, those are our steps. So that's what you can do with the Spinifex template. It's really nice. You can do less rotations or more, whichever you like. It's nice to practice the 16 rotations though, just to see the design that it gives you. It is really pretty, and it is nice to kind of work on those echoes too. So let me pull this back a little bit and can kind of see the overall. So I'm gonna go iron this, get rid of my marking lines, and then I'm gonna cut down my backing. So I already trimmed my batting to match the top of my block. So I'm gonna trim my backing to where I have about 1 inch all the way around, and we're going to use our backing as our binding and get this binded. See how it looks. All right, I'll be right back. Okie dokie, here it is. So I went ahead and cut down the backing, and I believe in our the first mini quilt block that we did in Club 1, we showed how to use the backing as a binding. And I think in our last class we did too. So it's really easy to do. What you're gonna do is just you fold the corners, you're gonna fold the corners in, and then when you go ahead and fold it up again, you'll have a little nice mitered corner there. So we're gonna go ahead and tack down our binding. And then again, that is what the design looks like. I think it turned out too bad, especially with all that little thread there. Yeah, I really like the echoes. I'm going to practice those more. I really like how they turned out. One of them wasn't quite perfect, but that's why we're doing this, to play around with the new templates and to test them out and have fun with them. So we're going to go ahead and tack this down. And then I have a couple of the buttons that were sent in our club box. I was going to use the Spinifex button because we just did the Spinifex design, but I was trying to decide what color button I wanted to do. If I want to do a purple button or a pink one. I think we have a lot of pink already. So maybe a blue. Blue kind of looks pretty. It brings out the blue in the fabric, or I might do the purple. I'm not sure yet. But then we'll put our little button in the center, and that will be our mini quilt block. So I'm going to get this binding tacked down, and then I'll show you the finished product. Well, there's our finished block. So that was fairly easy, super cute. There's the back. I love it. I love the colors. I love the green thread. I love the design. I think that's a great design. I hope you guys have fun practicing that, and share pictures of your completed mini quilt block when you're done. I went ahead and did the blue flower, Spinifex flower in the middle there. And I just hand sewed that on, which is a little bit easier just because there was so much thread in that middle part there. But anyways, it's super cute. I love it. I think it's just a charming little block design. So I hope you have fun this quarter. There's so many good projects out there to work on, so many that got included in the box, a lot of extra projects out there as well. So be sure to check out our lives and have fun with the new Spinifex template and the different designs, as well as our half square stash buster. We have a whole stash buster line. So if these are new to you, go on our website and check them out. We have a whole bunch. Anyways, hope you enjoyed it and have fun with yours. I can't wait to see your photos.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Absolutely love this project. I think you did an awesome job. I would go ahead and encourage you all to check out that playlist. I just posted a link to it. It's also in your box on the back of that little card that we include on the top. So you can access all of the classes as they roll out on our YouTube playlist. And don't forget to register on our Sew Steady University. We have the coupon on the bottom. You can scan that code to access that class right there on the bottom of the card. If you're not sure what we're talking about, we are referring to our Elevate Club box. So every single quarter we release a new box, and it has all kinds of tools and fabric and patterns and projects that are in the box, and then a whole bunch of bonus projects that aren't in the box. But you get access to all of those for life on the Sew Steady University if you're one of our active club members. So definitely check that out. If you want to learn more about our Elevate Club box, please check out our website. You can see it right there at the top. It says Elevate Club box, or give us a call and we can direct you to one of our amazing resellers that's offering that club box all quarter long. Our phone number here is 1-800-837-3261. So have a wonderful day. Thank you all so much for joining us today, and we'll look forward to another amazing class tomorrow. I believe we will have coming up, actually it's next week, sorry. We've got Amor coming up next week on Friday. This week we've got, I think we're pretty much finished with our education. So we'll look forward to having you join that. And then of course, don't forget to sign up. Someone asked a question on how to sign up for the giveaways. So we do have a couple of our of our partners that did some giveaways where they want you to go ahead and participate on a little bit bigger level. They want you to go over to their Facebook page or their Instagram page. But we've got so many different giveaways that is being offered this quarter. So definitely sign up. I posted a link to it. I'll post another link to it right now. Sign up on our So Steady link here, because you're going to enter to win 3 different fabric bundles by Jason Yenter and In the Beginning Fabric, 2 different mini irons that you can win. You can win those floor canvas rugs. That's a complete kit too. It comes with the fabric, the applique pieces, everything you need to be able to make that floor rug. Amazing giveaways. Oh, and then finally, a whole thread collection from Wonderfill. So if you enter to win, just go in, put your name right here on there, and then enter. Then there are some of our partners are asking for a little bit more. I think it's just Big Designs that wants you to head over to their website, Facebook and Instagram, sign up and to be able to qualify for their giveaway, which those are pretty amazing giveaways. So I definitely understand why they want you to. But they have 3 different floor rugs that you can actually enter to win with that slub canvas and all of those pieces. So check it out. We would love for you to be able to enter to win. And then, of course, all of our other partners, you just enter right here and you can win. All right, that's all I got. Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone. Thank you.